Introduction to SPSS. Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to address these questions. What does SPSS do, and can I use Excel instead? Does it matter what version of SPSS I use? Who uses SPSS? How do I use SPSS? So what does SPSS look like when I open it? Can you tell me about the point and click method of using SPSS? And what is the syntax in SPSS? Managing output in SPSS. How to download a free trial version of SPSS onto your machine. Where do I go next for help? How to analyze my data. So if you're interested in one or more of these questions, stay tuned. So what does SPSS do? Well, probably you are familiar with Excel, at least you've seen Excel before. Excel, although it has some statistical functions, is really just a spreadsheet package, so it doesn't the statistical features in Excel is very limited. So if you want to do something like analyze your survey, questionnaire, you'll need something like SPSS, which is a more kind of complete statistical package. Does it matter what version of SPSS I use? Okay, SPSS is the only package I know that seems to be updating itself, having new versions every few months or so. I was on version 18 last year, and it seems to be currently on version 22. I'm going to be demonstrating to you on version 21. Does it matter then? Well, for the newbie, if we're doing kind of basic analysis, the answer is no. All right. What we see in the newer versions, it seems to be gearing more towards business type units, communities who are trying to analyze kind of business data. So that's not really, unless you're professional, you're not kind of affected by the version. So who uses SPSS? Social scientists, big group, as likewise psychologists. Marketing, so marketing and SPSS these days seem to be geared more for people in the marketing kind of industry. So undergrads will use it for typically analysing a questionnaire that they've done. I also get requests for help from potential marketing people, so they need to learn SPSS for a job interview, so they need to brush up quick on SPSS. And yes, you get postgrads, PhDs having to use SPSS. It's one of the more easiest statistical packages to use because of the environment. It looks a bit like Excel. You can point and click. And people are kind of familiar with that. Alternatives to SPSS, Stata is the main competitor really. That does things similar to SPSS, and in fact does more probably. Right, next, how to use SPSS. Alright, so now I'm going to open up SPSS and we'll have a look at it. Right, when you open SPSS, you'll see two windows. The one at the front here is just asking you, what would you like to do? Would you like to open up a data set you've already got? As a newbie, you'd probably say cancel. You don't need that. Alright, so this is what we have, the main window. And what you can see is it looks similar to Excel. This is like the spreadsheet. We've got toolbar up here, and we'll see we've got two tabs just like in Excel, except for we've only got two. Okay, there's a data view and the variable view. The data view contains the data, so in that sense it's a bit like Excel. Here you put your data, but additionally we've got this variable view. Variable view is something that Excel doesn't have. This tells us what type, or talks about, it records a kind of data information about what type of variables we've got listed. You can see that just like Excel, we've got the rows numbered 1, 2 and so on, but the columns here are var, which stands for variable, because remember in statistics we talk about variables. You might use the word data. In Excel we'll have A, B, C, D and so on. So in variable view it'll tell us about what kind of variables you've entered for each column. Alright, so that information goes here, and that's important for running the analysis. Okay. Right, so we see that here, just like Excel, you have like this toolbar, and it's good in a way because
for the newbie, once we've loaded our data, we can just like point and click, so long as we know where to go, point and click to run the analysis. Later on, if you get more advanced SPSS, they'll teach you how to program. So that's like writing lines of commands. So that doesn't interest us, but just know that they exist. Alright, and just like in Excel, you've got some icons here, which is like for quick access to certain often used kind of methods or something like that. Okay, so quick access, instead of going to analyze blah blah blah, it might be that you've got something here that you can just press because you need to access it often. Okay, right, what's it like? Point and click syntax. Okay, managing output. Right, so now let's me load data. Alright, so I've just got them data here, just what it looks like. So each column contains variable, and it doesn't matter what these variables are for this example. And when I go to variable view, can you see that it's filled in for each variable? It tells me, gives me some information about what that particular variable, each variable does. Okay, so let me just run something. I'll show you just what happens when you run something. So I'll go analyze. I'm just going to run any old thing really. Okay, I've run something, and what you can see is when I run something, another window pops up and it's called the output. Right, it's output window. And this output window contains two columns. The main body of the output is on the right column. So here I've just asked for, what have I asked for? I've just asked for the mean of that variable. Okay. And what happens here in the left column, it tells you what you've just done. Alright. So here I've asked for frequencies. Suppose I want to run something else. I'm going to do something else. Alright, so what do you notice now? You see that this time I've run something called descriptives, and you see that in the left column I have now another chunk of stuff that's come out. Right? Basically this is like the index, and what's good about managing your output is that you can give these names. So the first output, to keep track of what you've done. So the first output, I can change that to a name. So example 1. Okay, the second one, called descriptives, I can just call that something, let's say example 2 or something. Now why would I want to do this? Well, suppose I run SPSS, people tend to get kind of quickly confused what's going on, because when you run something, there could be so much output dumped onto your right hand screen. You're scrolling up and down looking for the thing you want. But if you keep track of what you've done in the left column, like example 1, suppose I want to quickly get access to my output example 1, I just click on it in the right column and it takes me up there. If I want to get to example 2 quickly, I just now point in the example 2 here in the left column, click on that, and the right screen scrolls exactly to where I want. So you can imagine that if I've got a long list of stuff on the right column of all output I've done over over several minutes or even hours, I just go over here, and since I've kept a record of what I've done, I can just simply find the output I've done very quickly by clicking on this old stuff. Alright. So under example 1, these are log files, the frequency. Basically that's the thing that I've run. You've got various stuff going. That basically tells you what's in the right hand side window. But all you need really is, you don't need to bother with all this stuff. You just go up here. Alright. And say there's something that's in my output that I want to completely delete. I could just highlight it, like say example 2, say I want to delete that output because I want to kind of tidy up. Then I press delete on my computer and it's gone. Alright, complete the stuff on the right hand side, thus making it more manageable, because as I said, in SPSS your output tends to build up very quickly. Once we're done with a session, we'll just go file and you can just save. Alright, some people will, like as newbies, like to just copy and paste parts of their output into a document like Word or something, but if you come back to later, you might just want to save it as well, so go file and save. Notice also that if you look at the toolbar here compared to the main window, they're exactly the same. That just means that you can run the run your analysis from this window, the output window as well. Alright, so that's a matter of preference. Right. So we've talked about managing output. Downloading a free trial version. Alright, that's probably going to excite some of you. If you're a student, it's likely that, well, check whether the IT services in your college supports has a kind of a student license for SPSS, because if they do, typically you can get it for free or just pay for the disk, a few dollars, and that license might just cover the academic year. All right. If you're a professional, or if your college doesn't have that kind of support, you can download a free trial version of SPSS. So let's do that with you now, because I just don't want to give you the link because the link changes. So let's go to the browser. Okay, what I'll type in is, right, SPSS is owned by IBM. IBM, let's type IBM SPSS trial download. Okay. Alright, so it's given us a link. Let's click on that link. SPSS Statistics Desktop. Okay, get your IBM SPSS 14-day trial in 3 minutes or less. I guess that's supposing you've got a very fast computer, a faster connection anyway. We note that you can download it if you've got Mac. Okay, it does Mac in this current version. Does Mac OS, Mac OS X, does Linux, it does Windows, and you've got all in various languages: Chinese, English, French, German, Italian, Korean, Japanese, Polish, Portuguese, Brazilian, and Russian, Spanish. Okay, yeah. Great. So I guess you just highlight one of these guys, and away you go, really, isn't it? So you highlight it and you just press continue on this window here. IBM ID, usually email, password. Oh, we're a new visitor, so proceed with an IBM ID. I'm not actually going to download it here, but and then okay, it's the first time I've accessed this page, so let's just see. So just fill in your details here, the stars, just fill that in, and then submit, and then no doubt it's going to allow you to download the thing. Okay, so it's 14 days, it's free. 14 days of your student might be enough to do your dissertation, so long as you're kind of well organized. All right. Okay, where to go next for help? How to analyze my data? All right, so I can see a lot of questions on YouTube. Students tend to think, I think from reading what they say on YouTube, tend to think there's just a standard method for analyzing data. Now, how do I analyze my data? As if there's a standard way. Well, the answer is the methods you use to analyze your data depends on the hypotheses, the questions, or the aims of your project. So depending on what the questions are, that will affect, for example, the data you collect, or the structure of your questionnaire, if it's a survey you're doing, and also the methods that are going to be relevant. Okay, so for example, you might have heard of regression. Regression might be suitable for one person, but it might not be suitable for you, for example. Okay, so the method you need to use, or the methods, depend on your hypotheses, the aims of your research. And this is where I find YouTube is very good, because where to go next for help, if you know what methods you need, you can go onto YouTube and search for something like for regression, for example. How do I interpret the output of my regression? If you have no idea, that's where I might make some more videos depending on demand on how do you think about what methods you need. All right. So just want to introduce you to my channel, Statistics Mentor. So my other videos, I tend to find people using SPSS tend to need it for kind of survey analysis. So you can see I've got a lot of so here's where you might go next. How to enter your data. That would be a next natural thing if you're doing a project. How to enter data for a questionnaire. How to enter data if you've got Likert kind of scale input, or multiple response questions, or even filter type questions. All right, because first you've got to get the data into SPSS before you can do anything else. After that, descriptive stats. So that's why next I've got on my playlist how to get mean, median, and mode and standard deviation. But I don't simply tell you how to get it. I tell you which ones you need to report for your variables. Okay. And then some things about cleaning your data, and then mishmash of tools, which at some stage I probably will put into some order so that you know, get some idea of what methods you need. Okay, but that's it for now. So I've shown you how to I just talked about the environment. I've talked about how you can get a free version for at least for 14 days, and I've talked about where you can go next for help. So it's really now down to you to get down to it, isn't it? So I'll let you do just that. Okay, so have fun.